Previously on the KP Watershed channel.
The hostess walks us up a flight of stairs to go, to the upstairs part of the bar, you would presume. So that's the plan. Go into this karaoke room, have a quick drink, do some karaoke, and then head back downstairs.
I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I'm telling it too slowly. This is on track to be more than 3 episodes if I keep going at this pace. But okay, so as long as you're hooked, I guess it's working well enough. And for me too, that was an aspect of this, right? Even as I'm seeing some things unfold that seem questionable, seem a little dicey, I'm kind of intrigued too, I do kind of want to see okay, what are they going to do here? And I don't know, I was probably overly confident thinking I could get out of it. And yeah.
Have you seen any other employees of the place other than this hostess and maybe a bartender downstairs at this point?
Downstairs, yes, but in this upstairs area, it was just the hostess walking us down the hallway, me and Ling, and then we did also see one waiter who was bringing drinks into some of the other rooms upstairs.
Did the hostess speak English?
No, the hostess and the waiter only spoke Chinese. So when I asked if there was a charge for the room...
Ling's in control of this whole thing.
She is, yeah, definitely at this point. She could be, she might not be really translating, right? She might be saying something else. I would have no way to know it. So, so we're in the karaoke room now, and... it's this dingy, tiny little room. It does have a couch. It's got a big screen TV with the karaoke machine, and it's got some little packaged snack foods on a table and tissues, a box of tissues on the table. So, it seems like it's maybe a dual purpose room, right? It's their karaoke room, yes, but it also seems like maybe a room where people go to have sex, right? And so Ling is already up in the front of the room, setting up her karaoke and starting to sing. She orders a Pepsi for herself and a Tsingtao beer for me. And I'm like, I thought you wanted a beer too. Wasn't the whole point that, you wanted to get a beer? And she's like, well, first we'll share your beer. And then,
Huh?
Yeah, okay. And then she's like,
what song does she sing?
It was a Taiwanese song.
Okay.
And yeah, she thought that I would know it. It was a guy singer, Taiwanese song that's apparently huge there, but I didn't know it, and she didn't want to sing that one. So we're just, doing the typical karaoke thing, kind of skipping through the list of songs.
How's her voice?
I didn't actually get to hear her do too much singing. The little bit that I heard sounded very good. I believe her that she and her sister, are musically trained. Because, yeah, her voice sounded good. I didn't hear her do a full song, but the little bits and pieces sounded good. But I mean, again, that's not what I'm thinking about now, right? I mean, I'm not, scouting a singer for a band here. I'm trying to get a grasp on, am I being set up for something? And, how much further can I take this before I have to just, call a night and head back to the hotel and
Right, and is this girl coming on to you, or what? What's
that's the other thing? Yeah, it does. It's starting to get a little bit
because
flirty.
I those karaoke rooms. When I lived in Baltimore, there were a lot of those karaoke places that were Korean run, and I had a birthday in them one time, and they're rooms with furniture and TV, and you can rent them out for karaoke, but you also get the sense that all right, people might be renting these rooms to fuck and do drugs and whatever else.
Right, but we're not doing that. We're having good, clean, honest.
She's drinking a Pepsi and singing you a song.
Yeah, and yeah, there was definitely it was starting to go into more flirty territory, and yeah. So the drinks are there. We're still talking, and although
did you say it definitely was going into more flirty territory?
Yeah, it was a little bit.
All right,
and I'm still being very guarded and cautious about everything with the situation, but we're also kind of having a good time. We're talking about food now. She convinced me to try one of those little packaged snacks on the table. They were flavored watermelon seeds, which were disgusting, actually. One of the worst foods I had during the entire I don't know why anyone would willingly put watermelon seeds into their mouth. Like, it's the black seeds that you spit out normally. And I guess they chew on them kind of like we chew on like sunflower seeds. But anyway, tried those, did not like them. I spit it out. We're talking about her job now. So she is a painting teacher at a primary school, but it's August, so right, so school's out for summer. So she's on vacation right now, just hanging out and, going out and drinking and having a good time in Shanghai. Her cell phone rings, and now she says, all right, she's got a couple of friends. They might come join us here. I'm like, okay. Now the waiter comes and stops by, and, she asks him, are there any seats open at the bar yet? He says, no, not yet. So we order 2 more beers, one for each of us now. We've together, killed the first beer and still have most of the Pepsi left too. So second, the beers come. She drinks her beer quicker than I do, and then she excuses herself to go to the bathroom. So I'm hanging out in the karaoke room by myself, looking through the song list and finishing, the second beer here.
Are you nervous at this point, or are you feeling relaxed, or?
Much like I feel right now, I felt exhausted just from having just done the long trek from New York to Shanghai, and it was a mix of exhaustion, a mix of not being able to pronounce words correctly, exhaustion, and nervousness and being very guarded and not wanting to, get in over my head, but also being kind of intrigued and, it was a more interesting and, more familial situation than when it had just been me walking all by myself down these dark streets, getting approached by, much shadier looking solicitors, right? She's at least, we had a lot in common, and, we were having a good time. So I want for it to be not a scam, and I want for it to be, we're just, I made a friend, and we're having a couple of drinks, and it'll be a fun first night. Like, I wanted to believe that, but I wasn't under the illusion that, that's definitely the case, right? And I wanted to see, like, is that the case or is it not? Like, I was, I wanted to see what would happen, right? So she's gone to the bathroom, she comes back, and now she has 2 glasses of whiskey, 2 doubles of whiskey.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And before I can even think of what to say to her, she's mixing the Pepsi and the whiskey now and making us, Pepsi and whatever it is, whatever whiskey this is, for each of us. And now I'm like, listen, I have to work tomorrow. I did have to work Sunday morning, so I can't start drinking whiskey at 1 a.m. On the other hand, again, I was having a good time.
On the other hand,
and like the drinks are already there, right? You can't send them back. So I'm like, all right, we'll drink these together and then let's leave. Let's, the bar's not opening up. If we want to stay out together, you and me, then let's go to a real bar where we can sit at the bar and not be sitting alone in a dank room like this. She says, okay, that sounds good to me. So we drink the Pepsi and whiskey drinks. We're getting ready to leave now. Waiter comes back into the room, same waiter as before. And he comes back in carrying a platter with 4 more doubles of whiskey and another Pepsi. And,
what the fuck?
And I'm like, no, we're leaving. We didn't order these. We'd like to check, please. Now, he doesn't speak any English, right? So Ling has got to translate what I'm saying into Chinese. So she translates what I said, or at least I thought she was translating what I said. The waiter leaves the room, closes the door. He takes back the plate with the 4 new whiskey doubles. He takes that back with him. And, now we're sitting there waiting for the check to come. And, we're waiting for maybe 5 minutes. And, that's normal. Sometimes you wait a few minutes for a check to come in a busy restaurant, at a busy bar. That's nothing out of the ordinary. And we're still talking and having a nice conversation. We're looking at photos now on her phone of her niece, who looks a lot like her. We're still marveling over how many of these karaoke choices that she knew and I didn't know, or I knew and she didn't know. And then the door swings open, and now it's a new guy. It's this short, stocky Chinese guy, probably in his late 30s, with thick glasses, and he's dressed in a black suit. And he's holding a calculator in one hand and a big bottle of whiskey in the other. And now I'm like, oh, okay, this doesn't look good. They maybe got me. Like, this, nothing about this is a good thing. Like, I'm not happy to see any part of this guy, anything he's holding. And, I feel now I start to feel embarrassed because like I said, I walked into this situation, right? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, I saw this coming. When we went up the stairs to begin with, I should have just turned around. Like, I knew about this scam. Like, how did I let myself fall into this with,
Step by step, it sounds like.
yeah.
You know?
So,
You just, you trusted a person.
yeah. And, the hostess had said there was no charge for the room, so, that seemed believable enough too. So this Chinese guy, and for anyone watching or listening to this, please forgive my accent. I'm very bad with accents. I'm not trying to be insensitive here in doing a, character type Chinese accent, but it's the best I can do. He spoke English, but, with a thick and kind of, typical sounding Chinese version of English. So he's like, hello, I am owner of the bar. I'm manager of the bar. I am here to explain your bill to you. So he pulls out a sheet of paper and the calculator, and he starts writing down the Pepsi is 40 RMB. That's about $6.50 in US dollars. The beer, and we've had 3 of them now, right? So those are the same price. So about $6.50 a piece. Expensive, but I'm thinking, we're in a Times Square-like area. It's actually, compared to Times Square, that's kind of reasonable for a beer, right? The snacks, now he says, are 80 RMB, or about $13. And now I say, wait a second. I mean...
Wait. The watermelon seeds were $13?
Exactly. And it wasn't just the seeds, right? There had been, 7 or 8 other packets on the table that we didn't open. We only opened the watermelon seeds. But yeah, so I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, listen, guy, like $13, no big deal. Like, but why are you charging for us for things that we didn't order, that were just sitting here when we came in? And we only touched the watermelon seeds. The other 8 packets are still sitting there unopened. We didn't order this stuff. And
yeah, it's like hotel fridge rules.
Yeah.
You don't open it, you don't pay for it.
And so now, for the first time, he starts yelling, screaming at me. And he's like, I said wait, and let me explain the whole bill first. Don't ask any questions until I explain whole bill. Whole bill first. Wait. You wait. So I'm like, okay. So he writes down now on this list of charges, private room, he says, is 1,000 RMB, or about $165 in US dollars. And now, again, I know he said to wait and not talk back, but I said the hostess told us when we came in, we asked the hostess if there was a room charge. She said no, and he's still screaming at me. He's like, wait until I explain the whole bill. Stop interrupting me. Wait till I explain the whole bill. So he's got one more item to explain. So lastly, he writes down whiskey bottle service at 8,800 RMB, which is more than $1,400 in American dollars. So the total bill is 10,040 RMB, 10,040 yuan, more than 1,600 American dollars.
Holy shit.
So he's done explaining it now. So now, okay, so I say calmly to him, I'm trying to keep my cool and not, yell back at him.
Is Ling in the room while this is happening?
Yeah, she's sitting right next to me. But she...
And do you appeal to her, or are you already like, oh, she fucked me over here?
At this point, I'm like, yeah, she set me up. Like, she's getting a cut of this. But I wasn't, she... More on that to come. I wasn't totally sure, because she seemed nervous, too. But, I mean, it was clearly a setup, right? So, I was inclined to think that she'd been in on it now. So, now that he's done explaining the bill, now I say to him calmly, and again, being very focused on speaking calmly to him, let's start with the room. So first of all, I say again, the hostess told us there was no room fee. That was the first thing we asked when we came in. Ling backs me up on this. She's like, yeah, the hostess and the waiter also, was there too. And, everybody saw when she said that there was no private room fee. So the manager's still screaming, she not boss, I manager. She cannot say no private room fee. I say fee. I say there is fee. So why you think she boss? She not boss. I'm the boss. So as he's saying this, as he's screaming this, now 3 large Chinese men walk into the room with us.
Oh, shit.
And now they're blocking the door, the only door to get in or out. And now Ling is really looking very nervous, too, as if, if she was acting, if this was a setup that she was part of, she's doing an Oscar-worthy job of acting because she looks genuinely nervous and like she didn't think this was going to happen. And the manager, the stocky guy who's been yelling, he's about the same height as me, but just wider and heavier than me. All three of these new guys who are blocking the door are much bigger than me, than both me and the manager. Two of them are maybe 5'9", 5'10", and just very fit. They kind of look like, low-grade karate gangsters or like UFC.
What are they wearing? Are they wearing suits?
So the two karate style guys, I think maybe one was wearing a wife beater and the other one a t-shirt maybe. They were dressed like they were about to go to the gym.
Okay.
The third guy, this guy looks different from the other two. This guy, I am already thinking in my head, he looks like a Chinese Shrek. Like, Shrek, the movie?
Yes.
Like, this guy is a monster. He's probably 6'4", maybe 6'5", and he's huge. Like, he's not fat. He doesn't look like a sumo wrestler, but he's not, svelte and built like a UFC fighter like the other two guys. Like, he looks like a Chinese Shrek. He looks like he could be like, an NFL tight end, like that kind of big. Like, to go back to Game of Thrones, like Mountain or the Hound type of big guy, right?
Okay.
So for the next...
So he's of the Chinese branch of House Clegane.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. So I don't know whether it was 10, 15, 20 minutes, but some time goes by with all six of us, all six people in this tiny little room, and it's really just me and the manager continuing to argue over, the details of what's fair to charge, what's not fair to charge.
Are you sitting or standing?
We're both sitting.
So he's sitting like across from you, and these guys are just standing there blocking the door.
Yeah, so we're on a couch facing the door. I'm sitting in the middle, and then they're standing blocking the door right where the karaoke machine is, essentially.
Next time. Oh, wait, here we go. Next time on the KP Watershed channel.
I'm like, oh boy. So he leaves the room with one of the smaller two guards. The second smaller guard waits outside the room and he shuts the door. So now it's Chinese Shrek and Ling and me still in the room. And Chinese Shrek is, standing blocking the door with his arms crossed. He's staring down at us, just, like a wall in front of the door. And I think this is the best part of the story.